Basically, Tony Yayo came out to a bunch of red rags and brought a whole bunch of Crips on stage, and one thing led to another, and there were items going back and forth from the crowd to the stage.
You told me I'm gonna get rich, and he just showed me I'm on my way. Hey, bet that. Y'all don't let the wrong change, man. Bet that. Not playing.
Hey, what's up? This is 50 Cent, under the 40 block. This thing, you heard me. G-Unit crippin'. That's what he said when you talk to him.
50 Cent walked away from the street life years ago and built himself up into a successful rapper and businessman. But back in his G-Unit days, he had a lot of street ties, including gang connections, one of them being with the LA Crips. From the jump, 50 was tapping into LA culture in his music. In Problem Child, he raps about him and his cousin getting shot at by some Mexicans in LA.
My cousin Uzi out in LA been tripping through the sets again. Got shot the fuck up trying to rob the wrong Mexican.
Also, his intro track on Get Rich or Die Tryin', What Up Gangsta, is even considered a real gangster anthem, especially connected to the LA gang scene.
What up, blood? What up, cuz? What up, blood? What up, gangsta?
He also signed artists like Spider Loc and 40 Glock, who were both known Crip members, but of course, these affiliations stirred up some drama, especially with the Bloods.
Yeah. Let's go, they calling the pillow.
Let's get into it. 50 signs LA Crip members. So, 2003 was a huge year for 50 Cent. He dropped Get Rich or Die Tryin', which had insane first-week sales and instantly made him the center of attention. That same year, G-Unit locked in a deal with Interscope Records, and from there, the crew's plan to take over the music game went full speed. Later that year, G-Unit dropped Beg for Mercy, which sold 380,000 copies in its first week and debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200. But more than just the numbers, the album officially introduced Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, and Young Buck to the world and stamped G-Unit Records as a major player. After that success, 50 started bringing new artists into the fold. One of them was Spider Loc, a Compton Crip who came up under Suge Knight's Death Row umbrella. He linked up with Young Buck in 2004, got introduced to 50 Cent, and impressed him enough to land a spot on G-Unit.
You told me I'm gonna get rich, and he just showed me I'm on my way, my nigga. Hey, bet that. Y'all don't let the wrong nigga get some change, man. Bet that. Not playing.
He was known to be a solid rapper.
You can read me out the bottle, I don't need no glasses. I'm from the east side, I know glasses.
Later on, 40 Glock, a Colton City Crip, joined G-Unit's Infamous Records after releasing his debut album. He also hit the road with a crew, and together, these two gave G-Unit a serious West Coast presence. This eventually led to the launch of G-Unit West. Both Spider Loc and 40 Glock showed up on G-Unit mixtapes, and they got full support from the team. Spider Loc even recalled how Tony Yayo used to bring him and up to 100 Crips on stage during performances. One of those shows ended up being canceled, though. Apparently, the crowd was filled with Bloods, and things could have gone sideways.
I typically came out in Tony Yayo's show, and I let him know I'm gonna bring the homies out with me when I come out. The homies started getting extra rowdy and turned up with Blue Rag, kind of like got the show canceled.
G-Unit versus Bloods. Still, while these Crip affiliations boosted G-Unit's street cred, they also brought drama. A lot of people believe that one reason 50 signed Spider Loc was to put pressure on his enemies.
You were from a big set in LA, and it was almost as if 50 Cent was buying kind of a footprint, a stronghold in LA, a stake in it during the game beef.
And that's exactly what started happening. Spider Loc and 40 Glock began targeting rappers tied to the Bloods, and they weren't subtle about it. One example was the time they went after Lil Wayne. It kicked off when Wayne appeared on the remix of Shawty Lo's They Know and allegedly took a shot at the Crips.
And he had a lyric that said, Suge gang, if you ain't with that, you from the food chain.
Who I'm with, Suge gang. If you ain't with it, then you're in the food chain.
Food chain, I'm thinking about school, the ocean, and you know what you find in the ocean. I thought he was sneak dissing.
Spider Loc said Wayne came through to shoot a video with T-Pain at a studio he was using. Instead of Spider getting to speak to Wayne one-on-one to clear the air, he and 40 Glock showed up deep with a squad, ready to start something.
It's Crip. Food chain. Coach Crip. Game baby girl.
They were reportedly planning to attack Wayne's cars and security team, but luckily, a police siren spooked the group, and they scattered before anything went down.
He was holding the phone up. It's not just a phone that he's recording with, that he can have footage for and later be selective at what he releases. This was live streaming in real time.
Then came the beef with The Game. After Game split from 50 Cent and launched his anti-G-Unit campaign, Spider Loc went all in trying to shut him down. He dropped a ton of diss tracks and even took it off wax, confronting Game in the streets. One of the wildest moments came when Spider Loc pulled up on The Game during a West Coast peace conference.
Is you serious? I ain't answering that question. I see you, Spider Loc,
Their beef got so intense that Game reportedly showed up with 20 to 30 Bloods to intimidate Spider Loc while he was on a movie set. Fortunately, that situation didn't get violent.
I look over my shoulder, Game has got his head like cracked in the door of the house that I'm filming in. I'm not trying to exaggerate, so I'm gonna be realistic as I can. Somewhere between 20 and 40 Bloods surrounding the Littleton's house. So I'm like, damn. Immediately it looks intimidating.
40 Glock had his own problems with the Game too. The feud got so real that Game and his crew eventually caught up with 40 and the two ended up fighting. Game filmed the whole thing on his iPhone. 40 Glock clearly took the L and was seen running away.
Look at 40 Glock. Look at 40 Glock, y'all. Check him out.
Game said the fight was payback for 40 Gloc pulling up on Lil Wayne and Plies with a bunch of goons in the past. That incident turned into a legal case, with 40 Gloc suing Game for $4.54 million. He claimed $500K for pain and suffering, $500K for emotional distress, $750K for lost income, $2 million in punitive damages, $25K for medical expenses, and more. In the end, though, a judge only awarded him $3,000, and 2 years later, he got an extra $200K. 50 dissolves G-Unit West. The streets were bleeding into G-Unit a little too much, and by 2011, things had to change. G-Unit West, which had been the face of G-Unit's street-heavy West Coast presence, was officially done. Earlier that year, Spider Loc still confirmed it was active, but by the end of 2011, he was dropped from the label. After that, 50 Cent shifted his whole strategy. He stopped signing rappers with heavy gang affiliations and started steering G-Unit away from the gang-centric image it once leaned into. Later on, 50 actually addressed why he made that move. In an interview, he admitted that being tied up with gang stuff just wasn't worth the risk. He specifically talked about how dangerous RICO charges can be, those federal conspiracy cases that can take down entire crews just off association. He even said he'd rather catch a body than get hit with a RICO charge. That's how much he wanted to avoid getting caught up in anything that looked like organized crime.
Culturally, they're going gang, gang, gang. When I get on the record with them, I go, I am not gang gang. I do not gang bang. I don't like RICO. I don't like conspiracy.
Right.
You know, give me a homicide right now. I'll take a homicide right now before you give me that. I am not gang gang. I do not gang bang. But play me like I'm pussy, I will pull up and bang bang.
50 Cent versus Suge Knight. But just because he was stepping away from it all didn't mean that the past didn't come back around. The tension and beefs that 50 and G-Unit had been involved in over the years still left a trail of drama, and one name that kept popping up was Suge Knight. The history between Suge and 50 really starts with Dr. Dre. When Dre left Death Row Records and started building his own empire, it didn't sit right with Suge. Things got even worse when Dre signed Eminem and later brought 50 Cent into the Aftermath family. Since Suge already had long-standing issues with Dre, 50 and M basically inherited that beef. And Suge wasn't the type to just let things go. He made sure to let them know he was still around and watching. One infamous incident happened while 50 Cent was shooting the video for In Da Club. Everything was going smooth until someone on set suddenly yelled, "Suge Knight is here." That one line sent the whole set into panic mode. Suge had pulled up, not alone, but with a crew of around 30 people, many of whom were said to be members of a Mexican gang.
So Suge came, he had some Mexican. Now we from New York. You ain't never seen a with a tattoo on his forehead. 118th Street crew. I'm like, what the a tattoo on his face, homie?
It was classic Suge behavior, showing up unannounced with a mob, creating a scene, and sending a clear message of intimidation. He was all about making his presence felt. Then there was the madness at the 2004 Vibe Awards. That night was supposed to be a celebration. Dr. Dre was being honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award, and Snoop Dogg and Quincy Jones were on stage ready to present it to him. But just as Dr. Dre was getting ready to accept the award, chaos broke out. A man named Jimmy James Johnson walked up to Dre like he wanted an autograph. Instead, he sucker punched him right there in front of everybody. What followed was straight up mayhem. The punch triggered an all-out brawl. People in the audience started screaming, chairs were being thrown, and about 1,000 attendees rushed for the exits. Right in the middle of it all was young Buck. Reports say Buck had a knife and was seen swinging it during the fight. It was later confirmed that he stabbed Johnson, supposedly in defense of Dre.
Suddenly, you could see a shiny knife in his right hand. Police say that is 23-year-old young Buck, who then vanished.
Buck wasn't the only one who went after Johnson either. He was attacked by multiple people during the melee. The whole thing sparked a serious legal situation. Arrest warrants were issued, and Buck found himself facing charges. While nobody could say for certain if Suge Knight was behind the setup, there were definitely a lot of suspicious signs. According to Tony Yayo, not long before the chaos erupted, he saw Suge Knight and Irv Gotti walking past the G-Unit trailer. That alone was enough to raise red flags. It looked like something was brewing.
It was the Vibe Awards when we seen Suge Knight and Irv Gotti, and they walked past the trailer.
50 Cent didn't waste time taking precautions. As soon as he caught wind of what might be going down, he reportedly told his people to go out and buy a bunch of knives, just in case things went left. And clearly, he wasn't wrong to be cautious.
50 just look at James Cruz, so he just taps James Cruz and say, yo, go buy 20 knives. Yeah, just go to the hardware store. It was about 20 to 15 of us, something like that. Suge Knight got like some crazy looking Compton looking dudes with him, you know what I'm saying? So it just, you felt the energy, like you felt something was gonna go down. And that's when one of the dudes pops on Dre falls, and it just got crazy. Knives started coming from everywhere, and that's when, one of the dudes got stabbed.
In the end, Tony Yayo was hit with 3 years of probation and had to do 80 hours of community service for his involvement in the situation. 50 Cent versus The Game. And of course, there's the beef with The Game, which ended up being one of the biggest and most defining parts of the whole G-Unit drama. Back in 2003, when 50 Cent shook the entire industry with the release of his debut album, that same year, Dre discovered a kid handing out mixtapes throughout Compton and decided to sign him to Aftermath. This rapper was The Game. Dre worked in the studio with The Game for several months, but it wasn't until August of 2003 that The Game and 50 Cent finally linked up in the studio. They collaborated on a track called So Hard for the June at Radio 3's Taking It to the Streets mixtape, which marked The Game's G-Unit debut on Wax. After several months of trying to generate buzz for The Game, music executive Jimmy Iovine came up with an idea that would skyrocket The Game's career. Since 50 Cent was the hottest rapper in the world at the time, Dre and Jimmy thought it would be a great idea for The Game to become an official member of G-Unit. Dre pitched the idea to 50 Cent, and soon enough, The Game was officially part of the group.
And yeah, yo, home. G-Unit.
As 2005 rolled in, things between 50 Cent and The Game started to get shaky. Around this time, The Game began randomly dissing other artists and DJs for no apparent reason, which put him in some hot water. 50 Cent had to step in multiple times to clean up the mess and smooth things over with these artists and industry folks, just to make sure The Game's career didn't get derailed before it even really took off.
I was putting band-aids over stab wounds in that situation, and then he came back, and his way of patching it up was, I don't have a problem with Jay-Z or Fat Joe or anybody. I'm busy patching this thing up that you just did, and you come back and you say you don't have a problem even with the people that I have issues with.
Tensions rose further when The Game wanted his debut album, The Documentary, to come out before 50 Cent's second studio album. This led to 50 delaying his album until March, leaving him with a very bad taste in his mouth. On January 28, 2005, Hate It or Love It dropped, and in the music video, 50 Cent actually refused to sit in the front seat of the lowrider with The Game, a sign of the growing tensions between them. The breaking point in their beef came when The Game publicly stated that he had no issues with Nas, Fat Joe, and Jada Kiss, all of whom were 50's enemies at the time. 50 Cent saw this as a major act of disloyalty. During an interview with Ed Lover on Power 105.1, 50 Cent went on a tangent about The Game and officially kicked him out of G-Unit live on air. That same day, 50 Cent sat down with Funkmaster Flex at Hot 97, where he once again spoke out about The Game's disloyalty, but The Game was still in New York at the time. Fueled by anger, he gathered a group of gang members and headed to Hot 97. What ensued was a shootout between the game's crew and 50 Cent's entourage, resulting in one of the game's guys getting shot in the leg. During the chaos, 50 Cent made a swift exit through the back door of the building. A couple of days later, in a surprising turn of events, 50 Cent and the game appeared together, making a donation to the Boys Choir of Harlem and the Compton Unified School District music program. They even embraced and publicly squashed their beef. However, this truce was short-lived. The peace lasted until Summer Jam in 2005, where the game infamously dissed 50 Cent and the rest of G-Unit. He threw his G-Unit chain into the crowd, declaring that he was officially out of the group. This marked the beginning of the game's anti-G-Unit campaign.
Straight the fuck out of Compton, and I got love for New York. And space. I'm a real, and that's why they kicked me out the group, and I still don't give a fuck. Niggas be mad at me, man. I'm a real, and I'm always gonna be the real.
Just a few weeks later, the game dropped the You Know What It Is Volume 3 mixtape, which was heavily focused on dissing 50 Cent. This mixtape included the legendary track 300 Bars and Runnin', a 15-minute onslaught where the game mercilessly tore apart 50 Cent and the rest of G-Unit. In response, 50 Cent released the Piggy Bank music video in August, featuring a depiction of the game as Mr. Potato Head. 50 Cent also did an interview with Tim Westwood where he discussed the Hot 97 incident and elaborated on why they were beefing.
The game situation was disappointing to me. You know, I put so much time and energy into that project. I worked hard on that project, man. I recorded 6 records on that album. Come back and appear to be unappreciative was incredible to me.
The streets are saying that the documentary was better than the massacre, which it is, and 50 got jealous and kicked me out of G-Unit, and he thought that he could do what he did to Ja Rule to me. 50's a jealous little girl, man.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, he's jealous, and somebody needs to braid his ponytail and put him back in his skirt, because, I mean, he's obviously off his rocker, man.
The game then followed up with a Ghost Unit mixtape, dedicated entirely to dissing G-Unit. 50 Cent finally responded to the game at the end of the song Emotional on the June at Radio 14 Back to Business mixtape, throwing shade towards the game. The two continued to exchange diss tracks and public insults, fueling their ongoing feud. One wild moment during their feud was when 50 Cent threw shots by insinuating that the game was gay. For a long time now, there's been this standing rumor that the game was a male stripper before he got into the rap game. For years, people have talked about it, and at one point, a photo even surfaced showing him wearing what looked like a thong. Naturally, the game went on the defensive, swearing up and down that the photo was fake and photoshopped. He even went as far as claiming that 50 Cent was behind it, trying to tarnish his image during their beef.
Somebody put my fucking head on a stripper's body, bro. Like, and I want to say it was 50, bro. But like, what? Like, get the out of here. That's crazy, bro.
But as much as the game tried to deny it, people who knew him started speaking out. One of the most damning confirmations came from the game's own stepfather, Hodari Sababu. In a documentary about the history of hip-hop in Compton, California, Sababu shared some details about the game's past that the game himself probably wishes had stayed buried. According to Sababu, he and the game's mother used to run a male exotic dance club. The idea behind the club was to give guys fresh out of jail a way to make money. Many of these men were buff from working out in prison, but because of their criminal records, they couldn't easily find jobs. Sababu explained that the club was a way for these guys to make a living, and some of them could make up to $1,000 a week dancing.
Me and Game's mom, we started a male exotic club. What we used to do, we used to get guys that's just come fresh out of jail. A lot of these guys can't go and fill out an application and get a job, but hey, if they look good, they've been working out, we put them on, man. We get them, we get them $1,000 a week dancing.
Here's where things get interesting. Sababu revealed that the game, whose real name is Jayceon Taylor, danced at the club maybe twice. Sababu even acknowledged that 50 Cent has never let the game live it down.
Jayceon danced there maybe twice, and 50 Cent will not let him forget it.
In the documentary, Sababu shared that he had advised the game to just own up to his past and not get too worked up about it being brought to light. Other rappers and figures in hip-hop have also called him out, further damaging his street cred. For instance, Kodak Black once joked during a live session that 50 Cent basically grabbed the game off the pole and changed his life.
What'd he say?
What'd he say?
He said 50 grabbed that guy off the pole like I'ma change your whole life.
And of course, 50 himself has brought this up multiple times, using G-Unit Radio to clown the game for his rumored stripper past. Then there's the infamous butterfly tattoo. Back in the day, the game decided to get a large butterfly inked on his face. Needless to say, the tattoo quickly became a source of ridicule, especially for someone trying to maintain a hardcore image. Eventually, he had it reworked into a star and the LA Dodgers logo, but even the move didn't stop the jokes. When asked about why he changed it, the game gave what many saw as a weak excuse, claiming that the tattoo artist didn't draw the butterfly right, so he decided to cover it up.
Why'd you decide to do the LA over the butterfly?
Cause I got it when I was in New York, but he ain't do it right, you know what I'm saying? And it ended up looking like moth.
Many fans weren't buying it. Many said they would have respected him more if he had just kept it real, admitting that the butterfly tattoo might have had personal meaning at the time, but later realizing it sent the wrong message. Instead of owning up to it, his explanation came across as another attempt to dodge criticism. Even though 50 Cent has completely distanced himself from any gang affiliations, he's still one of the biggest trolls in the game, and over the years, he's proven time and time again that people think twice before coming at him.